girl who likes to be told they're pretty, right, because they have like some self-confidence issues, or a girl who thinks she's hot shit, you ignore her.
Right.
That's a form of manipulation. You know that by ignoring her, you're going to attract her attention. Like, why are you ignoring me? Why am I not, why are you not talking to me?
What is up, guys? Welcome to yet another episode of Kicking It with Manny. This episode, we are talking about, do guys manipulate women they don't want to be serious with? I have my guest with me, Lance, and we are going to have a very honest conversation and speak about our own truths. So I hope you guys enjoy them. Wait, if you are new here, make sure you subscribe for more episodes like this, and let's dive into today's episode. So with you personally, do you think guys manipulate women they don't want to be serious with?
Jumping right in. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a common, the answer is yes, right? Because we're generalizing it. Do guys, right? Do guys, that's a general population. Yes, guys, of course, manipulate women in certain fashions to get what they want from them, right? I mean, and we're not talking necessarily just sex or we could be talking sex. But yeah, I think that there's definitely a manipulation part of any relationship, especially on a guy's standpoint. And I know you were just talking, you're going to do the girl's standpoint on this as well. Yeah. So, yes, men will manipulate you if they don't, even if they're not serious, right? Short term, long term, manipulation is going to be a factor.
Why do you think guys manipulate women they don't want to be serious with?
Oof. This is good. See, I knew when you asked me about this topic, we're going to get some deep stuff, right? And so like I was telling you, I didn't want to pre-script anything. But again, wanted to come off as raw, honest, giving you guys a man's standpoint, but not being super fuckboy. I think why they manipulate, it's easier, right? They hide behind this facade of I'm this person or I do this and I have these friends and everything. And I think that part of it, if we're going to get true vulnerable answers, right? I think men manipulate women because to avoid a sense of vulnerability, right? I mean, think about it. You and I obviously dated women. We're not young individuals, So I mean, I think that it stands to a point where you don't want to be too vulnerable to a person too quickly, The vulnerable person, the open person, typically is the one that gets hurt, right? So manipulating the woman puts you in a self of self-protection. You're in a place of a sense power, right? And control. You control the narrative of what's happening. Right. So
the biggest thing why men, from my point of view, manipulates women has to do with the fact that, when you tell them what they want to hear, they like that.
Absolutely.
And for me, I'm like, okay, back in my days, you do what you got to do.
Absolutely.
But, honestly, this goes both ways. It goes both ways because women, they have all the looks, the shape, the boobs, the booty, whatever, all that stuff.
Essentially the power.
The power is the goal. See, that's the ultimate thing. If I have power over you, I can make you do what I want you to do.
Absolutely.
And even though it's kind of like a messed up concept, but in the day and age that we live, I feel like eventually you get to a point where that is no more than. Do you feel like it is necessary to manipulate a woman that you don't want to be serious with?
Well, if you break it down, right, do you think it's necessary to manipulate a woman? Not necessarily, because let's just say you don't know whether you're going to be serious. It's starting out, right?
Right.
You're going to manipulate a woman whether you realize it or not.
Okay.
Because you're like you said, you're telling her the sweet nothings. You're hyping her up. You're building her up. Right. You're telling her things to kind of make her more attracted to you, right? So yes, I think in the beginning, no matter what, you're trying to set yourself apart. Especially nowadays, we have social media, right? Pretty girl, say a pretty girl has 4,000 followers on Instagram, right? Then you look at her ratio; she's following 800-900 dudes. Yeah. You're in there how do I separate myself from all these guys, right? So I mean, that's the big thing. It's my friends and stuff, they're over here DMing these girls. They're trying to live this single life, and I'm like, dude, it's just insane. The stuff they say to these girls, and they eat it up. Girls, you're gonna eat it up. Let's just be honest. You like being told you're pretty. You kind of some girls and you can tell, right? Yeah. A girl who likes to be told they're pretty, right, because they have some self-confidence issues, or a girl who thinks she's hot shit. you ignore her.
Right.
That's a form of manipulation. You know that by ignoring her, you're going to attract her attention.
Right.
Like, why are you ignoring me? Why am I not, why are you not talking to me? There's, the word manipulation, I think, and a lot of your viewers are going to be like, oh, manipulate, that's such an asshole thing
negative,
to do.
yeah.
But it's not. You manipulate people on a daily basis in order to obtain whatever it is at the end goal.
Right.
So, what's the end goal for a man with a woman? To go on a date, go to have sex, right? Or, to create a relationship.
Right.
So, now talking about the serious part. When do you know if you want to be serious with someone?
Yeah.
Where's that timeline in both parties that says, hey, I want to be serious? Or you realize it's typically an ultimatum, essentially, right?
Right.
You have two people who are in a partnership or whatever, and the girl wants it or you don't. That's what it becomes manipulation. Because there's been plenty of times I've dated girls and I'm like, yeah, there's no way I would. I have a saying, right? If you can realize what role a person plays into your life early on, you'll save yourself a lot of time, a lot of trouble, and all of the heartbreak.
Right.
It's the people who think that this person is going to be their long-term partner or this person's going to be their best friend forever, right? But you're not picking up on the social cues that they're giving off.
They bail out.
Yeah, so that's how you get put in that position.
Game.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a game.
Yeah, I totally. I mean, I agree with that in so many different concepts because, like you said, if you are starting off, you have to play your game and whatever to a certain level when you feel like, okay, I'm gonna see this person as my long term. So now I have to shift a little bit, and I feel like the word like manipulation is not a negative word.
Right.
It just depends on how it is being used. The same way with this concept. We guys have to package ourselves a certain way to be attractive to these women. Yeah. And eventually, if we're finding potential in the person, you're like, okay, I want to be with this person, then the real you, it's unveiling a lot more. Right. But it only gets more negative when we know that we don't want a future with them. You go on first date, second date, and you're like, fuck, this sucks.
Well, you could... Flaws, right? We're going to I know this is going to go all around the world, but let's talk about flaws, right? That's what typically turns a person off of a relationship.
Right.
So, say I meet a girl, right? Actually, we'll talk about one person when I mention the name. This was years ago. I met this girl. Super cute, really pretty girl. Had a lot going for her. Was going to college. Everything was great. Sex was good. Let's just be honest. And it was just certain things that I could not wrap my head around, right? And it was some of it was political views, right? And just different upbringings. But for me, I knew there's no way I'm going to be with this person long term.
Right.
So I was enjoying the now. Call me a douchebag, a fuckboy, whatever you want. But I definitely manipulated the situation so that she believed, there's a potential future here. And anytime she would ask, I would be like, yeah, of course, I really like you. I want to be with you and stuff. But in the back of my head, that little voice being like, no, you don't. You don't want this, So, and eventually it's going to come to an end. There's a resolution to everything. So, if any guy out here says, watching this, or any girl watching this says, I've never been manipulated or I've never manipulated someone, you're lying to yourself. We're not here to lie to you.
Yeah.
I think people associate the word manipulation with deception.
Yeah.
It's not accurate, right?
Yeah.
Manipulating is really just a way to gain control.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, it doesn't have to be deception. To manipulate doesn't have to necessarily mean to deceive, right? Let's talk about my buddy, right? We're not going to say his name. Ryan. So this dude blows me away. And I don't know if it's girls or if it's him or what, but this dude sleeps with a lot of girls, right? Has slept with a lot of girls, dates a lot of girls, all at once too, right? And all these girls, pretty girls, they're all very attractive young women, right? So, and you look at it from the outside source and you say, what is happening? What's going on here? And they'll catch him cheating, lying, talking to another girl, whatever. Even to the extent of I caught you in bed with another girl.
Right.
I walked in, and now this is the truth for manipulation. oh, but baby, I love you. This meant nothing. You know, I was just trying to fill this physical void.
Yeah.
And like tells these girls all kinds of things. And you guys believe it, you know? I don't get it. You know, I mean, I guess I've been there once or twice, you know, a handful of times, whatever. But I don't understand how someone. I guess you're so caught up in the moment, right?
Yeah.
You're so emotionally attached. You're so like, oh, he chose me, type of situation that you just allow it. You know, you allow yourself to get yourself put in this situation. You allow, you know, people to say you're with this guy who like, you know, cheats on you or lies to you or you know treats you terribly.
Yeah.
And then you're like, why? And it's because you're so manipulated into thinking like this person truly loves you and it's like your fault that these things are happening. So manipulation, it can go small scale of like a little bit of white lies to, you know, to fluff yourself, to make yourself seem a little more impressive, to full blown like, you know, when we talk about that and dating, the go-to thing women say now is, oh, you're a narcissist. You're a narcissist. I know it. You're, you know, and it's just like, what is narcissism? You know, like, come on. There's just that, like I was just talking about, there's the point in time where you or she realizes, right? Like look at women, right? I know you're gonna have the guest, but let's just briefly hit at it. If you're providing this woman with like all the nice things, right? You give her, you know, you're showering her with gifts, you're going on vacations, right? Maybe she's not so much emotionally attached to you, but you have an emotional attachment. Maybe she's more attached to like the activities and the gifts and the things, right?
That's manipulation.
The material,
right?
That's manipulation, right?
Yeah.
You're essentially using me for this,
gifts.
you know. So
yeah, it's a very gray. There's gray area to it eventually, but I just feel like you said, that's a good breakdown of that concept, because if she loves the gifts and all that, and now she's here, you know, it's like you're using us for the gift, and we're using you for whatever we're needing for sex or whatever, like whatever status that we want. So I just think, you know, manipulation is it's necessary at a certain point. It's necessary,
right.
But eventually, once you see things go in a certain direction, then you can be like, okay, now we can kind of like be shifting our focus a little bit. So I mean, guys, the bottom line is that the manipulation aspect of this with guys and women, we have to do what we have to do. That's just the bottom line. We have to do what we have to do. And you guys honestly also have to do what you guys have to do, because I'm pretty sure if we are talking to let's say, for example, you're talking to one girl and the girl is super, super pretty and you're doing everything right. You're telling her what she wants to hear. You're complimenting. You're doing everything right. There are other guys that are in her DMs.
Always. So social media has completely ruined the true, like, let's just take it all the way back, right? The Andy Griffith Show, right? That's like the, you know, perfect little town, and everybody's just like kind of, you know, dating and courting and things. We don't do that anymore. Nope. If I want to go on a date, you know, what's the swiping? Tinder really just ruined it, right? And just created deviance out of most people. Yeah. You know, it was almost as simple as prostitution, right? I could get on Tinder, swipe, hey, what's up? Let's hang out.
Yeah. It's that easy.
You know, it's that simple. And now it's like, well, shit, I got to compete with. Think about like high school, right? You're dating in high school. You're really only competing at like that 15, 16, 17, before pre-licensed type of time. You're only really competing with dudes that are in your school.
Right.
You know, but in college, you're competing with everyone. You know, you're competing with a full campus. You're competing with surrounding cities. You're competing with guys at the club, you know, like
coming from out of town and all that.
Exactly. So the competition level is always going to be there. You know, it's just proven to get higher and less emotional.
So yeah, the manipulation aspect is always going to be there. I mean, manipulation is going to be part of our life in general. But when it comes to our relationship with women or women's relationship with us, someone is going to play their game. Someone is going to start from somewhere. And, you know, a lot of women, they say, like a lot of women and a lot of guys, there is a difference between the level of emotional build-up. Because maybe guys are a little bit more reserved when it comes to your emotions. Some guys and some women are more like flowing with whatever is coming. They are already like in that mode or whatever. So the manipulation is necessary. to build up to see, okay, if this person is going to be what you want them to be. Not that you're misleading them, because eventually if you get to the end product where it's like, okay, we are not really matching, so let's call it a day.
Sure.
But once we starting up, we need that.